This is from the Warroom, Steve Bannon's channel. And the name of this video is China has already risen. They're the predominant power right now. So they're just waving the white flag. China's in charge of everything right now, guys. That's how it's going to work. So you skip it now. If you watch this, it'll blow your mind. That seems terrible thing to do.
Xi Jinping has done his best to dismantle Deng Xiaoping's achievements. He brought private companies established under Deng.
Hold on, back up. I need.
Xi Jinping has done his best to dismantle Deng Xiaoping's achievements.
Yes, Xi Jinping has done his best to dismantle Deng Xiaoping's achievements. Deng Xiaoping was the Chinese leader who was working on liberal and openness in the society. He was trying to open China up to the West, all the things they were looking forward to as far as interacting with the rest of the world. And Xi Jinping is reverting back to Mao Zedong stuff.
He brought private companies established under Deng under the control of the CCP and undermined the dynamism that used to characterize them.
The dynamism that used to characterize them.
Rather than letting private enterprise blossom, Xi Jinping...
Rather than letting private enterprise blossom, what a bunch of commie gobbledygook.
...introduced his own China dream that can be summed up in 2 words: total control. That has had disastrous consequences.
That voice you're hearing, for those of you listening, is not the voice of Steve Bannon. That's not the voice of Peter Navarro. That's not Steve Cortez. That's not Jack Posobiec. That's certainly not Donald J. Trump. That's George Soros, the head of the Open Society Foundation, who is someone who's known ubiquitously for being a mega donor to far-left causes in the United States. He's just pledged, Politico is reporting, $125 million for the midterm elections this year. He's, of course...
And I'm not getting a penny.
...responsible for so many of these far-left DAs that have instituted these open-door policies for violent crime. And so the question is, why is why is George Soros now speaking out against Xi Jinping?
It's weird. It's almost like he's actually, at his heart, a liberal.
Both men of the left, right, as it were. And so my contention on this is that what you're seeing here, this is Game of Thrones stuff. This is Game of Thrones stuff. Because being like a third-tier Steve Bannon wannabe, the only references for power structures, intellect, military tactics, and social control and governance he gets from binge watching shows like Game of Thrones. Who's going to be the junior partner? Who's going to be the senior partner? And
you guys remember the who's going to be the senior partner, who's going to be the junior partner episode of Game of Thrones? The suits they wore were hilarious.
In Newsweek this week that actually was discussing all of this and how Xi Jinping really has run the table on all of this, and that he has now become the senior partner in all of it, and that the Beijing Olympics are now the coronation ceremony for Xi Jinping, not only as the leader for life, the chairman for life in China of the CCP, the transnational criminal organization, but he has also now rocked the tables for the balance of power. So the regime in the West,
rock the table,
is now in a tributary status to Xi Jinping and to the CCP. So I wanted to bring on the opinion,
somebody who knows even less than I do,
editor of Newsweek, Josh Hammer, who published this piece. He's been doing incredible work over there at Newsweek to discuss these issues, as we are only days away from the opening of these Olympics. Josh, thank you so much for joining us today on Warroom.
Jack, good to see you, my friend. Anytime.
Oh, good. I'm glad Warroom and Newsweek are so well intertwined.
Absolutely. So, Josh, let's dig into this a little bit, because, I know I was definitely taking a deliberately very provocative take on all of this, because to me, though...
No, you weren't. You were just repeating gibberish that you've heard from other people. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Oh, this is such fun.
I've heard so many people for years say, well, China's getting big, China's on the rise, China's coming. And I'm saying they're not emerging. They're not rising. They have risen.
Well, yeah, but that means they're on the downward slope.
are established. Xi Jinping has clearly established himself. He's run the tables within China with his purge campaigns.
No, he hasn't. He's angered the Shanghai section of the Communist Party. They're pushing back against him now. There's a lot of subversive stuff happening, allegedly, with the billionaires in China who are sick of being jailed and re-educated, and they're starting to team up with people around the world. And there's thoughts within the Communist Party that if the Olympics don't go well, which they're already going badly, it's going to give more reason to not allow him to stay in charge.
Gotten rid of corruption. He's gotten rid of anybody who's...
No, he hasn't.
Essentially been in his way. Jiang Zemin has a few people that are coming up within the national political, the law enforcement and judicial branch, but he is getting rid of them. He's taken out all their people. And the number one show, by the way, on TV in China for the last 5 years have been these struggle sessions of self-incriminations, right? You don't need the giant stadiums anymore. They do it on live TV, and they make these guys apologize. So
yeah, but they don't have a choice.
What is your take? What is going on? Why are we allowing Beijing to have these Olympics?
Are we the IOC?
The notion that China is not already risen is not already arguably the predominant power in this world. And I obviously say that as someone who laments the fact that we're even having this discussion.
Fuck off. They are not.
It's just a total failure to understand.
No, it isn't. This is ignorant as shit.
What's happening in the world around us. It's a total failure to pay attention to events that have transpired over the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, look, I might date myself a little bit here, Jack. I don't actually know exactly how old you are. So I'm 32. I'm turning 33 in a few weeks.
Oh, shit. I had no idea you've been on the earth that long.
So I was in 4th grade in 1999, I guess the year was. Back when I was in 4th grade, I literally did like about as big a project as a 4th grader can possibly do. It was like a 20-minute oral presentation. I had like an old school like trifold board, and I'm spending time on this because the subject of my presentation was actually China, and I did about as much research as a 4th grader can possibly do for this. And my basic conclusion to the class at that time.
Fuck, we're getting a 4th grader's view on China from 1999 as the gotcha geopolitical opinion.
That China back in 1999 was a sleeping giant ready to explode onto the scene.
They weren't a sleeping giant. We were waking them up.
Fast forward 9 years later, the last time that China hosted the Olympics in 2008, obviously in Beijing. We all remember this Olympics, okay? This was Michael Phelps' peak Olympics. You know, he had success in Athens 04, London 2012, obviously even Rio 2016. But 2008 Beijing was one of his famous Olympics where he had the 8 gold medals. I mean, we all remember that, right? I mean, for me...
Right. More than you remember that it was in China.
At the time, it was like must-watch nightly TV. That was Xi Jinping's coming out ceremony, to the extent that one of these Olympics was a coming out ceremony. And that was 14 years ago now, okay? So, like, China they have come out. They have come out, by the way, not just metaphorically, but obviously literally, which was...
Wait, China's gay?
Part of the point, obviously, of your fantastic op-ed for us was the coronavirus pandemic has literally come out due to gain-of-function research from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So they've come out both kind of...
that is an illegitimate assertion. It's a suspicion that you're welcome to have.
Politically. Yeah, it was literally, like, released, right? So they've come out now in, like, multiple ways. So, yeah.
Yes. They've come out by Xi Jinping staying in power for 14 years because that's the terms that they have there and trying to stay in for another round. And they've come out by releasing a worldwide disease. Just like I said they would in my 1999 4th grade paper.
This notion that China is like still like simmering and like we can like contain it. No, they are out.
Nobody thinks that. They're over the hump, dum-dum.
There. The question is what we, geopolitically speaking, do about it, obviously. I mean, it seems like we're entering, or at least we theoretically have already entered. I'm not sure if elites have grasped the fact that we are...
the elites don't grasp it. I see.
...in a new era of kind of great power strategic competition, that the U.S. is no longer kind of the unilateral one and only kind of superpower in the world, that we are...
You mean like we were during the Cold War when we were dealing with the other big superpower in the world and we were having a nuclear standoff for decades? Oh, I'm sorry. The majority of that happened before you were fucking born.
Competing against a new superpower. And that's just the reality. So,
No, it isn't.
To answer your question about what...
Magoo!
Or are we doing? Well, kind of like a feckless kind of quasi-diplomatic boycott, the likes of which the Biden administration seems to be doing. obviously is woefully insufficient. I mean, I was definitely on the team of like full boycott. I mean, there's no reason to grant this any legitimacy, any imprimatur of legitimacy whatsoever here. But, it seems like that argument failed.
Yeah, because nobody would listen to you. And also, what the fuck does that have to do with... So we're to understand from this fourth grader's report in 1999, which he still stands by, that because China has made an enemy of the entire world during COVID, has the least popular Olympics in the history of the sports, as in the modern era anyways, since Germany, we're supposed to believe that means they've already taken over the world. Because that's the title of this fucking thing. China has already risen. They're the predominant power. Why? Because they have the Olympics, and all we're doing is a diplomatic boycott, since we want our athletes to be able, because they have been training their whole lives, and they have a very narrow window when they can perform as these athletes in these particular things. We want them to go and compete. And then we'll have a problem with the IOC ever doing China again.
So, it's only going to redound to Xi's interests, obviously.
Obviously. All right. Seriously, that whole segment was gibberish. That's their clip. That's the whole fucking thing. 2,542 views, only 268 rumbles. Apparently, the audience was not impressed by this, the dissection of their geopolitical understanding of China and where it stands. Can I show you guys real quick? One of the guys that let's see. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Let's see if there's a dude. There are two guys, Serpent ZA and Lao 86, who, when I initially was going to China, they rode motorcycles around China, so I would, sort of check in on their videos, and see just like areas I knew I was going. They had videos because many times they'd been to these places, right? And like, let's see. Let's try this guy. Hold on. This is I'm not borrowing his stuff. I will send you guys over there if you ever want to watch any of Lao 86 stuff. I recommend it. But he, this is a video, recent one. How the world stopped fearing China.
China's national anthem actually tells us what's happening in the world right now, believe it or not. Stand up, those who refuse to be slaves. It's kind of ironic that the world doesn't want to be China's slave at the moment. The thing is, it was our governments and our institutions and companies that were complicit in getting China to where it is today. Don't get me wrong, development is good. I wanted to see a developed China. It's only a good thing for people to have more access to a better life. I was there during China's golden age. 2008 to 2018, things really looked like they were getting better and opening up. Hell, I remember we even cheered when Xi Jinping came into office because it looked like he was going to continue on that path of liberalization.
That's the Deng Xiaoping thing that George Soros was talking about.
How wrong we were. Mm-hmm. Today's video is brought to you.
Anyways, he's going to sell that stuff. There's a big, let's see if they can, yeah, here you go. Yeah, he does this thing about the favorability and unfavorability rating of China. This is the current one. You want to talk about like how unpopular the government is and all that shit? This is currently how the world thinks. The world has moved from a 66-28, that's the median, unfavorable against China right now. U.S. being 76. Only Sweden dislikes China more than we do. Well, in Japan. Here's Japan down here. These are the European countries. And then there's the Indo-Pacific region. So Japan, the U.S., and Sweden jockey for who hates it the most. Japan hates it the most. We're tied with Australia. We're one note behind South Korea. This idea that they're ascendant and there's no way we can They've just won. They've just won. They've won. What else is there? So, is garbage. I've talked about this a bunch. So, hold on. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I forgot my thing was up there. I was on the wrong one. That's not right. Shit. I went to the wrong picture. Sorry. Hold on. I was in China for a second. I didn't even know I was there. I got the wrong thing. Sorry about that. That was my mistake. I was speaking all highfalutin during that time.